Okay, so thank you, Lauren, for coming in or coming on and chatting with me today. I really wanted to get you in as an Interiors Insider member and just maybe explain to the rest of the group, some of your journey to date, what's been the really good parts, what's been the not so good parts, and just get a real insight into what you're doing in your business right now, what's working, what's not. So for those of you who don't know, Lauren's obviously in our group. She has West Home on Instagram. So if you don't already follow Lauren, jump on and follow her and give her some support as one of our members. But yeah, Lauren, tell us a little bit about your beginnings, where you're at.
Sure. Yes, happy to. Thank you so much, Kylie, for inviting me along. It's great to have the chance just to sit down one-on-one and chat. We don't get to catch up enough.
Yeah.
So as I say, my company West Home is it's quite an interesting journey for me because I mean there's also a bit of backstory to my situation. So I actually have kind of just taken a very organic approach to how West Home has come about. I started essentially a blog, I suppose, 3 or 4 years ago. I was absolutely, my passion is homes and real estate, and just I was always out looking at homes in the local area that were for sale. And I, in my own situation, was going through the process of trying to figure out whether I should renovate or whether we should sell and move, and what that process would actually look like. And so I was going out to all the trades and all the real estate agents, just learning as much as I possibly could to figure out which direction to take in that that life situation. And just through that, I suppose I sort of started to put it on social media, and then I had people following along. And this area, so I'm in the inner west in Melbourne, it's a very community oriented area. It's kind of like a little country town in Melbourne, so everyone knows everyone.
Where I met you at a networking event, didn't I? One of the
yes, snuck you in.
Inner West Biz Hub.
Yes, that's the one. Yep.
That's not going still anymore, is it?
It's now yes, it is, but it's kind of got a different sort of people leading it. Yes, I'm not too sure where it's at now, but there's still, Facebook pages. And that's, to be honest, at the time when I was getting started, those Facebook pages and, shout out Monday and all those sorts of things, like they hadn't really taken off that much. So for me to be able to start to share messaging about what I was doing, it was really opportune for me to do that at that point, because it did have cut through, and people were I was sharing things that I was learning. I was sharing homes that I was checking out and snooping, and I'd take videos and I'd talk about some of the features in the homes that I loved and features about the area that were really interesting.
So you were also doing this while you were working?
Yeah, working full-time. So working in corporate sustainability, and just on the weekends. As I said, I needed to know this for my own situation, but I was also really interested in seeing what was out there and sharing what I was learning. So I set up a website and I started to publish, blogs and articles and those sorts of things, and had no real intent of it becoming, like, it was 100% a hobby, and I just loved it and wasn't really sure I was going to make anything of it. But just like in my nature, I like to be helpful and share what I learn and all that sort of stuff. So I was in those pages, not looking to make any business out of it, just sharing what I knew, just being, helpful and answering questions in different groups about, tradespeople in the area and all that sort of thing. And
was that in Facebook groups you were doing that?
Yeah, Facebook groups. I find they're really helpful for really kind of when you're getting that grassroots support behind you.
Yeah, and getting local trades, understanding who's around you locally, I think they're a good
definitely idea. Bounce things around, get advice and recommendations, all of those sorts of things. Yeah. So that kind of was where it all started. And then I had a little bit of a sort of feeling in I've always been entrepreneurial, and my mum laughs at me from the age I was about 5 years old. I was running my own little business, so I'd always on the hustle, always looking at things to make and sell to families and friends and all that sort of thing. So it's never been part of my plan to just work for someone else forever, but I hadn't really landed on what I truly loved and what I was really passionate about. And I set up a couple of businesses with my ex-husband. And yeah, so I kind of had it in me to maybe have a crack, but it was quite a scary moment for me, because at the time where I had this gut feeling that I was not, acknowledging my calling and not kind of going after what I really loved, I got divorced. And then I found myself in this situation as a single mum with primary care of the kids and no financial support from an ex-husband, that I was just like, well, I can't really do this. So I just had to dig deep and kind of, see, well, I'll just start slow, see what happens, no pressure on it, keep working full time, all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, I wanted to kind of like spend my energy getting as much behind me to set me up for when I was able to make that leap. And so I went and did the Interior Institute interior design course. I did the designs online. Yep, online, which I went into it going, must be easy. Like, I'll just be able to download resources. Oh my God, some of the assignments were so bloody tough. And it actually made me realize what within the entire interior design space I'm not naturally good at, and nor do I like. And that is things like the spatial planning and the trying to figure out how to use, CAD and SketchUp and all that sort of stuff. That's not my bag. That was, so for me, that was really helpful to sort of solidify my understanding of some of the concepts, but also help to inform me what is truly involved in being a rounded interior designer and what element of interior design I actually like and am good at. So that was helpful from that regard. Then I went and did the design school interior styling course, again online. I found that really, really helpful.
Was that the short one or the year one?
No, the short one. Yeah. Because I think I found, when you're passionate in this space and you're reading and you're following along, like, God, I've got a stack of, magazines I'm always reading that are home related. Like, there's things that you just acquire over time. And I just think those courses are really helpful for rounding out your understanding, but really, like, I would recommend them to anyone to help you to determine whether this is the career path for you, because there's a lot to some of these roles that that you don't often truly understand until someone's taking you through like the end-to-end process of interior design, for example. And then I, just to kind of close it out, I went and became a real estate agent as well. I went and got my qualifications in being an agent's representative. No, I've got no desire to be a real estate agent. Like, a bit of me was kind of like, maybe you could change the culture from the inside, like, because the whole idea of working alongside, other agents that, they're not my cup of tea.
Male-dominated industry, and
I thought, no, that's not my jam. But if I put all of those three sorts of qualifications together, and sort of the following that I'd already started to kind of gather over time, I was like, actually, there's a niche in the market. I don't want to do SketchUp sort of design stuff. I don't really want to sit at a desk and pull together a mood board. That's not what gets me out of bed. But helping people and giving people the confidence to make their decisions about their homes, and to basically rewind to where I was like, do I reno? Do I sell? If I renovated, what would that look like? How would I avoid overcapitalizing? Like, what should I do to maybe improve my home so I can fall back in love with it rather than even renovating at all? So all, like, being able to kind of go into homes and have that very rounded conversation was the sweet spot for me, and what I felt was really missing in the market. And that's kind of how West Home came about. So
West Home, I know that's been an amazing journey, and I honestly do believe that all those little short courses, I did a lot of them as well. I think you get the nuggets out of every one of them, something you'll get out of them that'll help you in your journey. But I remember the first time I met you, you were like, I could see that, yes, you're very entrepreneurial, you're a real go-getter. And the thing that I loved is that you're always asking questions. You were just like, you wanted to know, you're always digging
Yeah.
There weren't surface questions. They were always the question below the surface. They were always the ones, yeah, but how did that get there? You know, how did you do that? And what do you think of this? And, you know, what would you think of this idea or whatever? And I love that about you. And I love that you're so open to learning as well, because you're right. You know, there'd be a lot of people that would go, okay, I'm a single mum. I've got a full-time job. I don't have time to do that. But you don't actually say that. You go, okay, well, I've got this interest. I want to explore it. I don't know where it's going to take me. But yeah, let's see where it goes. And so what would you say West Home is today? What is it about?
Yeah, so just when you were talking, I realized there's one sort of key point to call out as well. So when I did end up sort of taking that leap and opening myself up for business, I did it again when I was still working full time, and I was just trying to find ways to do consults outside of work hours and just get it going. But I had no, false belief that it was going to just boom as soon as I switched it on. And I feel like that's probably some advice I would give. And I'm learning that now, 2 years later since, launching West Home. It doesn't just switch on and you're good to go and you're like fully booked out. It just takes time. But I did get it to the point where, I was made redundant in my full-time job, and I thought, actually, could this be the chance for me to try and find something in the corporate world that was part-time, that I still really enjoy. I love what I do in that corporate sustainability space, but can I do my own thing 2 days a week and just see what happens? And that's what I've been doing since last April. And again, I think it's a good place for me to be at now, because I don't feel as much pressure on me to grow West Home to be my primary income source. I think while the kids are young, that's just not part of my story right now. That, maybe over time, but I feel like I've found a nice balance with how I sort of structure my work week. So I would say West Home now, it's definitely not a side hustle. It is a part-time job for me, but my full-time, I suppose, love. I am now, I've recently launched a new concept, which will take time. It's new. So I'm running styling classes for people in my home, and I'll come back to explain why in my home maybe a little bit more, but that's a real thing. I come from a family of teachers, both my parents, my brother and his wife, all primary school teachers. Like teaching and helping always been in my blood. So, I find that, really my consults, the business is sort of set up to be now 90-minute consults is my main sell. Like that is the way in to engage me. You can bring me into your home to have whatever house related question and conversation, to answer any questions and have any conversation that you might like. And then I still offer, styling and or sort of room by room packages or end to end.
Like to furnish,
So I do offer those, but I certainly don't present those as my primary offer, because I don't. I kind of go into it with the 90-minute consults, giving as much value in that time as possible. I'm literally with my laptop open. I sometimes don't want any extra work off the back of that, because for me, that's the value. That's the thing that the word spreads, that was such a helpful consult that I actually got everything I needed out of that from Lauren, and I'm good to go. And I'll tell them, these colors, this size artwork, this size rug, this orientation of your room, these are the problems in the area, greenery goes there. Like it's so hands-on. But if people do want to engage me further, I've got a style coaching package. Again, I don't want to sit there sourcing furniture for a client. That doesn't excite me. But if I can give them the vision, which a lot of people lack having, like, you've had your consult, here's what we discussed, here's your vision, and here's where I would recommend you go to buy the items, and you can come and check those items with me. And I'm basically just your little cheerleader. I coach you along, but I don't do any online searching for you. That is what I'm giving you the empowerment to do. So and that's really,
on that, would you say that really suits your local demographic too? That's your client. They're in who is your client? What do they look like? What do they want?
So I've definitely found, because the other package I offer is that end-to-end, like I'll do mood board through to furniture selections, but I won't set it up for you. That's a separate thing I'll come back and do.
Yeah.
But both of those were created and I suppose tailored because of this market, which is very, money is people are very cost conscious. They are very lean in my market in terms of discretionary income. So that's why I try and position the 90-minute consult as, it's $395. That is your, you come in at the time of recording, you come in and I will solve that problem for you. I'll save you a fortune because you won't go off and make silly mistakes with this, furniture selections. And that should ideally be all you need. And if you do need any more help, I can coach you, but it doesn't make sense for you to pay me to do that work for you if I can give you what you need to try and just get more confidence around making your own decisions. Because I just found, and I've upped the price of the end-to-end end-to-end packages, because I find they take so much more time than you expected. Take a lot of hours. It's not my love affair service, so I don't get G'd up about it. So I feel like I want to be able to value that in a certain way for both me and the client. If I'm going to do it and it's going to take something out of me to get my mojo up about it, because I don't want to do wrong by the client, I need to be able to make sure that I'm pricing that accordingly. So
and did you start at $395 or is that no?
I think I started maybe 2 years ago. I think it was $250, and it's gone up and up over time. And I've tried and tested things. I've done, like, that's just in the
the sweet spot, I reckon, for your market, isn't it? $395.
Definitely. And even now, talking to real estate agents who I've been able to, again, it's about building networks. And it's, I was flogging their houses for sale when there was nothing in it for me. It was just, I love this house. It's up for sale in Footscray. Check it out for these reasons. And so I then built, a strong sort of support network from real estate agents, even though unfortunately you don't get as much in return, but some of them, the good ones, have seen that I can provide, a trusted voice to their vendors and their sellers. And so sometimes I'll be getting 90-minute consult work from them, because there's really a bit of a gap in the property styling space where agents might go into a home. I get these all the time where it's a beautiful house in Yarraville, but there's a few things that just need to change about it. So for me, I can go in there and get really direct. There's no, I'm completely independent.
No reaction for them. Either way, you're just giving them a really honest opinion.
Giving my honest opinion, because property stylists are understandably more focused on furnishing and staging it for sale. And so a lot of property stylists don't have the appetite to go and do those one-off consults. And so that to me has been an opportunity to sort of come in and be able to, because of my real estate qualification, I can have a conversation with those vendors as well about how to present their home, but how to kind of prepare themselves for what's ahead. And maintain it during the campaign and all those sorts of things. So And
you mentioned something before which I thought was really good, is that you built your network by supporting others or spruiking their homes without, it wasn't going to do anything. You weren't getting paid for it. There was no compensation for it. But what it has ultimately done is built trust
and goodwill.
And goodwill. And that's how you've been able to increase your following. So you said before, it doesn't happen overnight, does it? This takes time, and you've just got to, what's the one thing that you see as being the key to that success? Like for me, I know it's consistency. You've just got to keep doing it, even when you think no one's watching or looking. You usually find that someone is watching and looking, even though they might not be pressing like or commenting.
or even engaging your services. Like I had someone the other day, and again, like we were laughing before we started this record about, you know, how, not laughing, we were somewhat sort of crying in our teeth. And it's like sometimes it takes a bit of effort, time and effort to get something going. And you kind of think, oh, this is such a no-brain sell. Why aren't people like knocking my door down for it? But it takes time and you don't know who's watching. And I had someone message me the other day, and I did a 90-minute consult for her years ago. And when she was looking to renovate, so we basically were trying to nut out what her plan was. I gave her my ideas, you know, gave her considerations that hadn't even crossed her mind. And then finally they realized that it wasn't the right thing for them to do. They decided to sell and move. They bought a new place and now they're getting their house ready for sale. And I was like, why wouldn't you just bring me back in again? You know, that would be, you know, I work in that space. But for her, she's been watching, she's been listening to everything I was sharing. And she was like, she sent me this huge DM that was basically like, here's the house, it only looks like this because of your advice on this and your advice on that. And I loved that, you know, post you did on X. So she actually was like, she's a supporter for life. She doesn't need to, she'll be there to like spruik my work to somebody else, but she didn't have to bring me back for that job. So yeah, you just don't know what people are taking from what you're sharing. And sometimes it feels like it's not as, and I'm an immediate kind of gratification type of person.
Me too.
And you kind of got to
temper
that.
Disheartening, but you've just got to keep going and regardless. And how do you advertise now? Like, how do you market yourself? Is it all through Instagram? What's been the key to growing?
Yeah, I've Insta's my main following and my main channel. So I'll usually just through sheer time poorness, I'll just post something to Insta, and then every now and then I'll be like, I might have referenced link to bio and it's gone on to Facebook and someone's messaged me going, oh, there's no bio. Like, how do I get the link? So I forget, like, unfortunately, Facebook's like that forgotten child, but I do still get quite a bit of business through Facebook. I still get some good engagement. I probably get more often than not, I'll get maybe more comments on Facebook. So I feel like there's a smaller audience, but they seem to be pretty engaged, and Insta does kind of get lost in the system. But it's
on
all
that Facebook just for you, for your info as well. I was just saying to the group that I just had before, I watched a YouTube channel recording from Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, and he's saying Facebook is coming back. Like, if you have not got your bio and all that done in Facebook, get it done, because there's definitely a swing away from Insta. And it is definitely going to be YouTube Shorts and Facebook. He said Facebook fan page. So I don't know what that means. So I'm gathering that's your business page.
Maybe.
So anyway, that's something to think about, because you will probably get, if you haven't already got it set up.
Definitely. And like, I just don't have the time to do reels. You know, I don't mind it. I'm comfortable being in the front of the camera, but it's just really a time issue. I'm much more a written word type person. It makes more sense to me, and it flows easier for me to write a helpful caption and post a pic. So I'm having to sort of get my head around that whole video space. I'm good on stories. I was going to say,
stories, you're huge.
Yeah, that's pretty easy.
And you're funny on the go too. Personality comes through. I find it. I don't know. I'm always sending you messages back. I think I'm going, oh, you crack me up.
Yes. Well, I mean, look, that's really, you know, I sound like a bit of an arrogant wanker to say it, but that has 100% been part of my success, is sharing myself. Everyone knows everything there is about me. I'm an open book. You know, what you see is what you get. Like, and I'll go into people's homes and they'll be like a bit weirded out for a second, because they're like, oh, I follow you on social media and now you're in my home. This is really like sort of like not E-grade celebrity that's in their home. But people are kind of like, they know me well and they feel like they know me, but they take a minute when they actually meet me. But they'll always be like, God, you're exactly the same as I thought. You know, I was a bit wondered, you know, you just think this is a facade people put on online and all that sort of jazz, but, you know, you are who you are, and I value that. So that's been, you know, and sadly, I've had some pretty shitty stories in the time when my business launched into where I am now. I've had marriages break down and relationships split up, and I've had a lot to share. So, and people
Yeah.
have
And do
been
you share that?
diagnosed with stuff.
You
Yeah,
share
I
that?
share
I know you
share
share
it all.
dating. Yeah, your dating stuff.
Yeah,
On
me not being able to just work on the surface and go deep is not helpful in my dating life, just by the way. But yeah, no, I think it's, and I understand people's reluctance. I'm probably at the stage now where I'm rethinking things I post about my kids, but they've been a part of my story. And to be fair, most of the network in this area and the people that followed me initially were people I met through kinder and school and local footy and now dancing and all that sort of stuff. So I actually feel like it's a hard one for me. I don't have a personal Instagram account. So that's been an interesting thing for me. My West home, because I just want it to absolutely be, this is me. This is who I am. This is what I love. This is what you'll get when you meet me. It makes sense for me to sort of have it as a personal page as well.
I think I'm the same. Like it's authentic and it's you. And like, as you said, people will meet you and they go, "Oh, are you West Home?" Like I used to have that all the time. Are you Gold Chalk? Oh, is this? That's Gold Chalk. Or they'd introduce me as Gold Chalk, not Kylie. Yeah. It's Gold Chalk. But
yes,
they knew me. Yeah, they knew me, warts and all, basically what I was like. And I think you've done pretty much a similar thing. And you're not. I don't mean that you become a celebrity, but you share so much that they just actually, without even knowing you, they know you. They think they know you.
Absolutely.
And you probably have people you follow on Instagram that is like that as well. That you.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I know them, and I sometimes have to question. I'm like, have we actually met in real life before, or do we just know each other through Insta?
I know exactly.
But that authenticness, I think, is what has been instrumental for you getting to where you are and showing yourself, showing up. Like, was it hard to start that first video, or did you just go, you know what, stuff it, I'm just going to turn up and I don't really care?
Yeah, well, I think I was doing video tours from way back, with not much of an audience to really worry about how I was coming off. And I think I just got natural practice in that over time. So, I mean, a little bit, probably now that I'm, despite public appearance and what you would see, now I'm taking a little bit more seriously. I sometimes overthink it, and I'm like I'll record something 20 times and 9 times out of 10 the first recording was totally fine, and I'm just like, maybe I'm a bit more aware of how things could come across. I'm a bit more exposed now. You get to a certain point where you feel like you might be entering maybe some trolling space. Have you had any trolling? No, I've only ever had support, and I feel like that's got feels like that's got a ticking time bomb against it. I mean, I got some I had a bad, maybe my only bad customer shook me a lot, and that really made me question what I was doing, because I've never, when you're sort of surrounded by support and people kind of be behind you, and you get one that's like not. What
happened then? Are you willing to?
Oh yeah, fine. No, I just went into, and you know what? Hot tip for anyone. And now I do it better and better over time. When you speak to someone over the phone, and I tried to streamline this thing, so I've got 2 days a week. I need to be really conscious of my time. So I don't tend to call every customer when I get an inquiry. I'll send them through, here's my services, which you've been awesome in giving me a bit of an understanding of what a process would look like. So I'll just send through my packages. I'll, say these are the days I do my consults. Let me know if you want to go ahead and what dates work for you. So if I called everyone, I'd just be out of time. So, but this one, actually, I did call her, and I should have realized over the phone, this is not my person. Like I was on the hustle, and I was like, take all the work, anything that comes through. And unfortunately, her expectations were just so high on what she was getting, and it didn't feel like there was ever, now I've had a chance to analyze it, I just think, unfortunately, she would never have been satisfied with anything. And she sent me an email that was basically like, I've been incredibly disappointed by this service, but I feel bad writing this because you're a nice person and I can see, but this is not, I do not want to go ahead any further. And I was like, whoa, okay.
Did it shake your confidence in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because it was, my mantra is about coaching people, about helping them to make decisions. And unfortunately, she was the person that needed her hand held start to finish, and that wasn't actually what I was going to ever provide her.
No.
So the match wasn't made in heaven, but yeah, it took me a bit.
Did you feel the red flag initially and you ignored it? Yeah, I think we all do, and we all do. We all make a mistake, but you know what? As I say to all the ladies, you do learn, don't you? You go, you'll move forward, and you might be in another hustling stage and you might accept a person that you probably shouldn't. Yeah. But I usually find out if they start off icky, the whole journey is icky. I don't know if you read recently, I refunded a client $3,000. I didn't want to refund them. I did not want to, but I just couldn't work with her. It's very similar. What she was expecting and what could be delivered with her budget were just two different things, and I was never going to be able to please her. Yeah. And it just would have taken me forever. And it was shitty to give her her money back. Oh no. Well, same with this one. She was at least kind of met me halfway. She paid pretty much for the end-to-end service when it wasn't called that. It was like coaching, a more souped up coaching package. Yeah. But I ended up meeting her halfway, and she offered, she's like, I'm happy to pay you for your 90 minutes that you were out, but all the work that I did to create the vision for her, she was like, I don't like it. Yeah. Whatever, jog on. But it kicked me in the guts when I saw her recently unfollow in my distribution list. I was like, oh really? No, you're still in my mind. You're still that person, Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, I guess I always take to unfollows as they're not my people. If someone, unfollows my email or whatever, I try not to take it personally anymore. I think that takes a lot of work. But I just go, you know what, everyone's time poor, they're busy, and they were never going to buy from me anyway. They were never actually going to engage me because I'm not their person, and that's okay. Because I'm not everyone's person and everyone's not my person. I know it's simple, but it's true, isn't it? Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, it's like in the dating world, Kylie, this is what I'm facing. I have another girlfriend in the dating world too. Actually, you might know it, but I'm like, it's interesting. I'm like, Dad, tell me what's happened. What's happened next? Did they call you and that? She's like, they don't call, they don't show up. And I'm just like, what? I know. And then it's just like, got to watch that movie again, just not that into you. Same with a client, same with a date. It's just sometimes they're just not your people. Yeah. And just talking about Interiors Insider, like what made you join Interiors Insider when you came in? What was your big, and what did you get out of it that you love the most? Yeah, I definitely was at a place where I needed more support around me, and just people to kick things around with was a huge sell for me. Knowing you and knowing, my respect for you and you as a, friend, I was kind of like, if I'm going to learn from someone, this is who I want to learn from. And all the sorts of initial discussions we had in that little group about pricing was a big one for me at that time. Like, this is really, I need to get myself clear around what I'm offering and how to streamline processes and all that sort of thing that I saw was going to be a real value in the membership. And now it's kind of like I struggle sometimes to get along to meetings. They often fall on or Q&A sessions and whatnot, because they often fall on my corporate days. So where possible, I'll go back in and watch them. But, recently you had one on Google Ads, and I was like, that's really like right now, because I'm launching or I've launched Style School, which I mentioned before. So I run that in my house because I also hire my house out for photo and video shoots. So it's all sort of set up. Other streams of income coming in where you've learned, okay, I can hire it out for video or photography, and also, Style School. And bring people in and show them, take them through the theory.
problem solve their rooms and their issues with them, and then show them in practice, here's how you do an arrangement of greenery in that corner, etc. So ultimately, when you earlier asked where do I want to take West Home, it's to a place where it's purely 90-minute consults, styling masterclasses, and hiring my home out. That's really that would be the end game for me, and just seeing what else sort of pops up along the way, but trying not to overthink it. And I've got the luxury of it being 2 days a week and the security of corporate income that I can play with it. I can just see what happens, try and test, doesn't work, refine, come up with a new idea. If I was doing that full time, I don't think I would have the ability to do that. So, that's my vision for it at the moment, but I'm also very open, and I have been the whole time. I've been very open to just seeing what comes up. There's just, you just never know who's watching and what they might see in you. I've had people talk to me about TV presenting and all sorts of things. That's I did copywriting for real estate agents for a while. For me, it's always just see, you never know. You just never know.
You never know what's ahead, do you? Yeah, I think I love that part of you being open to what comes. And in the start, and just one quick other question about this, in the start, did you find the industry closed? Because I know you're a real go-getter, you ask a lot of questions. I would get the feeling that some established designers may be a little bit threatened by that. How did you find the industry?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because I'm part of lots of different groups. And I remember when I first was just publishing these articles with no business intention out of it at all. There was a local renovating mums page, and I would always share articles I'd written about sanding your floorboards, because I just sanded them. So I wrote something up. I come from a communications background, so writing's easy. It was just me being helpful, posted it on that page. I got kicked out of the group and I got put on warning, and I was like, hand on heart, I had no intention of making it a business at that time. I'm working full time. I'm helping my ex-husband, my husband at the time, to run his business. I'm not making a business out of this. And if you're concerned about me being helpful and trying to share knowledge with other mums in this area, then it's obviously not my page either. But that was the first of, I think, many times where I've felt there's people that have had some reservations about me and concern, and sort of a level of threatening to them, which is just crazy, because it's like, you don't know me.
I feel like the industry can be closed. I think it is changing, but I think more the established designers tend to be more closed, and they don't, I don't know, a lot of them won't show their processes. To be honest, I think a lot of the reason is that some of them don't have actually systems and processes in place, like proper ones that they could actually share. So they do feel threatened. But I could imagine that, because you're a big sharer, you ask questions, I could imagine that you get people just going, whoa, I'm not going to share that, or I'm not going to tell you that.
Yes. Yeah.
And I know that was one of the big things that you thought when you came into Interiors Insider. You were just like, oh my God, someone who's willing to share is just so unheard of. And is so refreshing. But I guess as you've moved through and you've gotten your contacts, you've just found your space, and you haven't accepted no for an answer, which I really love, because we get so many no's compared to yeses. And you just got to keep going, don't you? You just got to keep going, keep knocking on doors, and
exactly,
the right ones will open eventually.
That's right. But I don't think now, maybe, I don't know whether any of the big guys have ever worried about me, but I've certainly found in the certain circles I've moved in, I've felt that it's been quite closed at times. But hopefully now, because I've landed on where I want to be and where I feel like I can add the most value, and that shouldn't be a threat to most circles I operate in, because it's a unique offering, and a lot of it is about, because people will bring me into their homes, they're not engaging me because I'm an interior designer or a stylist. Like, more often than not, I'll hear from people like that is actually deterring for us. That is, and that could be, you know, some advice I could share from my experience. It's been primarily the wife, the girlfriend, the partner will bring me in, and it will be the male partner will be at the consult on edge with their back up on the defense, because they're just like, here we go. She's bringing in a stylist, she's bringing in an interior designer, you know, this is going to really kind of cost me. So I've like a lot of it is about me saying, that's not why I'm here. I don't want, and that's probably how I can carve out that 90-minute consult. I don't expect you to engage me for anything further, but if you want to, I can work for you by the hour. But what I want to do is problem solve your issue with you right here and now. Here, you know, it's a bit of mediation half the time. Let her have a win, let him have a win.
Yes.
But that's the perception of designers can be quite challenging to overcome when you're engaging into households. So they'll say to me, that's just me, they've brought in, sorry, Carla, but the point I was also trying to make was they've brought me in because it's me, and that's why I'm not a threat to anyone else, because they would never have engaged an interior designer or a stylist, but they trust me and they felt like they could have a conversation with me. And that's why it's so important to share who you are with your audience, because that you may be up against that barrier.
Yes, they want to trust you. And they, as you were saying before, they probably already feel like they know you before you come in. But what I was going to say to you also was, you know, you get in there, you're at the front door, you're knocking at the door, you don't know really what you're going to get when you get behind that front door. What's one of the first things that you're looking to do when you get into that? You meet them. Like for me, I say that, you know, I want to instantly develop rapport with them, and I've got to do that quickly. I've got to make them feel at ease really quickly so that they'll open up. Like you were saying with the male, it's really important to get the male to open up and feel comfortable with you. How do you do that? What do you do when you go in there? Are you just like...
So this is like reminiscent of a module that we did at real estate school, where they say, you know, an actual module is about building rapport with homeowners. And it was like you walk into someone's house and you see a photo of a dog on the wall and you go, oh, I like dogs. And like people were in the class writing this stuff down, like how to build rapport, how to communicate with a homeowner. And for me, it's about, definitely, I'll obviously try and, you know, there's an immediate connection I'll have with the person that's brought me in, but I tend to immediately turn my attention to the other partner and really just chat to them, you know, be self-deprecating about, you know, what, I'm not here to do this, or I'm not here to do that, or, you know, it's all that sort of stuff, so that they just immediately don't feel like you're going to primarily cost them a fortune. It's like to be really key about, like, I'm here to, you've got a hurdle you're trying to overcome, you need some guidance around your direction. So like my messaging will always be about, I want to help get you both on the same page and leave you with the tools and a plan that you can execute. So that's sort of
do you write when you're there? Like, do you leave them a written report, or do you send it to them, or you get them to take notes?
Yeah, I'd get them to take notes. I say that to them in the email. I'm like, 90 minutes is going to go in no time. Come prepared with a pen and paper, questions you want to ask, take notes copiously. Like, if you've got anything you want to check in with me afterwards on, I'm open to it, but most people don't. But I think that that's, for me, a really important one. And maybe because of the business model, I don't need their ongoing services. I know for some who it is their full-time job, they will want it to lead to an upsell of some description. But people, if they want it, they want it. And that's always been like the kind of sales space has always thrown me a bit, because it's like, if I need you and I want to engage you, I will. Like, you calling me every day, you emailing me every day is not going to help. So I find most customers that still, even with me going in there going, this is going to be super valuable and practical, hands-on 90 minutes, you hopefully won't need me afterwards. If they need me, they'll engage me. So I never let on at all that there's anything else I'm going to expect from them from that time. And that immediately puts them at ease. They've already paid. So it's like that money's gone and they're going to get everything out of me today. And I'm there if they need.
So you send them your services guide. Is there a link that they book straight away? Like, do they book in a call? What's the process to get you?
Yeah.
Or do you just send them an invoice?
Yeah, pretty much. So I do have a Reno Assist package, which is like a 10-hour package. And so I've got the consults and the Reno Assist. They're sort of the same in some regard, in that they're by the hour, or they're like a paid sort of advisory service. So for Reno Assist, I get a bit more serious about the agreement I send to them and everything. But for the 90-minute consult, the bulk of my work, I'll get the inquiry. I'll let them know Wednesdays and Fridays are my days. Let me know what time will work, and then I'll send them the invoice to pay in advance. And then I'll turn up, and there's nothing that's sent afterwards. But I do, for the Reno Assist, I do send my welcome guide, a copy of the design agreement, and they need to sign that first before I then invoice them, and then I'll schedule time with them after that. So just there's a bit more risk in my advisory services for that.
Yes. And I was got one last question I was going to ask you is that I found this really interesting, and I wonder if this has been part of the success, is that you really took on that, like you got thrown out of that Facebook group or whatever it was, but you really went off your own back and made yourself an expert in the area. So no one gave you that title, Lauren Westholm is the expert here, the Reno expert, but you just added value, and you gave them, I guess you've given them all value, which has made you the expert in that area. And if I look at you from an outsider looking in, like, yeah, you are. You've got the knowledge, all of that accumulated, but you didn't wait for someone to give you that title, did you? You just went out and you just thought, I've got this, I can pass on some value. And that's how do you feel that that's how you've got your cult following really from that? Like you have been.
Definitely. Yeah. And look, I've got massive bouts. I have massive bouts of imposter syndrome along the way, where I just feel like, this is like, how have I landed here? People are paying good money for me to come into the home and give them this advice. And all I keep reminding myself of is I could tell someone that their rug needs to come out from their couch, 10 centimeters, and it's a game changer for them. And for me, it comes second. So the level of what I can share as my knowledge and what the average homeowner needs from me is it's right, it aligns. And so I just have to try and push down my imposter syndrome. I'm not trying to go onto a TV show being some sort of interior design expert. I try and temper the fact my design work is purely from a visionary, help you with what works with what. I'm not going to tell you what surface materials best in any sort of situation. That's not my expertise. But I think if you're really clear around what you're trying to do and how you're trying to help people, and you will inevitably become that expert. And that's, for me, it's about helping you to problem solve, get the confidence, give you the tools, set you on your way, be there to support you and bounce things around in a way that's, approachable and that's not overwhelming to you. And that's, if anything's associated with me in that sphere, then I'm happy. So
yeah, I think that's so good. I think it's so amazing that you've found your space. It's taken you a little time to find it, but you're actually really clear now and this is the beauty of this industry. It's what suits your skill base and what suits your lifestyle.
Yeah.
You've been able to, carve your niche. And I think that's amazing. So thank you so very much for taking the time to share that with all of us today. I really do appreciate your time. I love having you in the community. I love your support, and I love that you're a go-getter and you just chase, you're out there. It doesn't always work, but, we get back up and we just keep going. And I think that that's so important for everyone to realise that, it doesn't come easily, and you just have to, sometimes you haven't got a plan, and sometimes, it'll just, your niche will find you.
Yep, that's it. Hustle hard, be resilient, test and learn, don't take yourself too seriously, all those sorts of things. Like, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much, Lauren. Keep shining, my darling.
Thank you.
Okay.
See ya.
Yeah.
Bye.